Christmas music from the 1960s and 1970s didn't try to be loud. It didn't chase trends. It didn't beg for attention. Instead, it created atmosphere. These songs were built for cold nights, glowing living rooms, and quiet reflection. They came from an era when Christmas records weren't seasonal content. They were emotional anchors, played once a year, yet remembered forever. What makes these songs magical isn't nostalgia alone. It's restraint, warmth, melody over spectacle. These are 10 Christmas songs from the 60s and 70s that still feel magical. Not because they're old, but because they understood the season better than anything that came after. Number 10. Little Saint Nick, The Beach Boys. At first glance, Little Saint Nick feels like an outlier, a Christmas song driven by surf rock harmonies and teenage energy. But beneath the upbeat tempo and car-themed lyrics lies something deeply characteristic of the early 1960s: innocence. Recorded by the Beach Boys at the height of their youth, the song captures a version of Christmas that feels untouched by cynicism. There's no irony here, no wink to the audience, just excitement, the kind that only exists when Christmas still feels limitless. What makes the song magical decades later is its honesty. The harmonies are tight, joyful, and unmistakably human. You can hear the room. You can hear the smiles. It doesn't sound manufactured. It sounds shared. While later Christmas songs lean toward grandeur or melancholy, Little Saint Nick preserved something fragile, the sound of young voices believing completely in the season. That belief never ages. Every time the song returns to the airwaves, it brings with it a time when Christmas felt fast, bright, and full of motion, like a sleigh racing through a clear winter night. That's not nostalgia. That's memory made musical. Number 9. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, Frank Sinatra. Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas endures because it never pretends that Christmas is uncomplicated. Unlike many holiday songs that lean entirely on cheer, this one acknowledges loss, distance, and the quiet weight of time passing. That emotional honesty is what makes it feel magical, even decades later. By the 1960s and 70s, the song had become a staple through countless recordings, but its core remained unchanged, a gentle promise rather than a celebration. The melody moves carefully, almost hesitantly, allowing space for reflection. Nothing rushes. Nothing overwhelms. What makes the song timeless is its restraint. It doesn't demand joy. It offers comfort. The lyrics suggest hope without denying hardship, warmth without excess sentimentality. That balance is rare, especially in holiday music. When it plays, the world seems to slow down. The noise fades. And for a few moments, Christmas becomes personal again, not a spectacle, but a shared pause. That quiet grace is why the song still feels magical, long after its era has passed. Number 8. Christmas, Baby Please Come Home, Darlene Love. Christmas, Baby Please Come Home, is one of the few holiday songs that understands longing as much as celebration. Released in the early 1960s, it arrived not as a cozy carol, but as a full-bodied plea, urgent, emotional, and aching with desire. Darlene Love's performance is what makes the song magical. Her voice doesn't float gently over the music, it pushes against it. The sleigh bells and Phil Spector's towering production create a wall of sound, but Love cuts straight through it with raw conviction. This isn't background music, it demands attention. What keeps the song timeless is its contradiction. Christmas is happening everywhere, lights, choirs, bells, yet something essential is missing. That tension gives the song depth. It acknowledges that the holidays can amplify absence as much as joy. Decades later, it still feels alive. Not sentimental, not distant, just honest. When this song plays, Christmas stops being a postcard and becomes a feeling, powerful, imperfect, and unforgettable. Number 7. Happy Xmas, War is Over, John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
So this is Christmas.
Happy Xmas, War is Over, feels magical because it dares to widen Christmas beyond comfort. Released in 1971, it arrived wrapped in familiar seasonal warmth, acoustic guitar, children's choir, a gentle melody, but carried a message that reached far past the living room. What gives the song its lasting power is contrast. The tune is disarmingly simple, almost traditional, inviting listeners in without resistance. Yet the words ask something bigger: reflection, responsibility, and hope beyond routine celebration. It doesn't shout, it suggests. Lennon understood that Christmas was one of the few moments when people actually listened. By pairing a universal melody with a quiet call for peace, the song became both seasonal and timeless. Decades later, it still works because it doesn't feel dated or preachy. It feels sincere, a reminder that Christmas at its best is about imagining a better world, even if only for a moment. Number 6. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, Brenda Lee. Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree still feels magical because it captures a side of Christmas that never fades. Joy without effort. By the time it dominated holiday playlists through the 1960s and 70s, the song had already become inseparable from the season itself. What makes it endure is its ease. Brenda Lee's voice is playful, relaxed, and effortlessly confident, never pushing, never over-singing. The groove swings gently, inviting movement without turning Christmas into spectacle. It feels social, communal, alive. There's no grand message here, and that's precisely the point. The song doesn't ask you to reflect or remember. It asks you to join in, to dance, smile, and let the season breathe. Decades later, it still sounds fresh because it never tried to be more than it needed to be. It understood that sometimes Christmas magic comes not from meaning, but from rhythm, laughter, and shared space. Number 5. White Christmas, Bing Crosby. White Christmas still feels magical because it defines what Christmas sounds like: calm, reflective, and quietly hopeful. Even as music evolved through the 1960s and 70s, this song remained the emotional center of the season, returning each year with the same unhurried grace. Bing Crosby's delivery is the key. There's no urgency, no performance flourish. His voice feels conversational, almost intimate, as if the song is being sung to one person rather than an audience. That restraint gives it power. It invites memory instead of demanding attention. What keeps White Christmas timeless is its sense of longing without sadness. It doesn't promise perfection, it imagines it. Snow becomes a symbol for peace, simplicity, and the wish that things might slow down, if only briefly. Decades later, when this song plays, time seems to soften. Christmas becomes quieter, warmer, and more human, and that feeling never grows old. Number 4. The Christmas Song, Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire, Nat King Cole.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
The Christmas song still feels magical because it sounds like warmth itself. From the first notes, the world slows down. The arrangement is gentle, deliberate, and timeless. But it's Nat King Cole's voice that carries the spell. Cole doesn't sing this song at you. He invites you in. His phrasing is soft, unforced, and intimate, as if he's standing just a few feet away. Every word feels considered, every pause intentional. There's no rush to reach the chorus. The beauty lies in the space between the lines. By the 1960s and 70s, this recording had become inseparable from the idea of Christmas evening: firelight, quiet rooms, and shared silence. It doesn't celebrate the noise of the season. It honors the stillness. That's why it endures, not as background music, but as atmosphere. Number 3, I'll Be Home for Christmas, Andy Williams. I'll Be Home for Christmas remains magical because it captures the emotional core of the season, the promise of return. By the time Andy Williams' version became a staple of the 1960s and 70s, the song had already carried decades of meaning, but his delivery gave it renewed tenderness. Williams sang with warmth and assurance, never overstating the emotion. There's a quiet confidence in his voice, as if the promise itself is enough. The arrangement supports him gently, allowing the melody to breathe and the sentiment to settle naturally. What makes the song timeless is its simplicity. It doesn't describe grand celebrations. It names the smallest details: snow, mistletoe, love, and lets them do the work. In doing so, it speaks to anyone who's ever felt the pull of home during the holidays. Even now, the song feels like a letter sent through time, sincere, patient, and full of hope that Christmas still means coming back together. Number 2, Blue Christmas, Elvis Presley. Blue Christmas still feels magical because it gives the season permission to be lonely. While most holiday songs chase brightness, Elvis leaned into vulnerability, and that choice has aged beautifully. By the 1960s and 70s, his version had become the definitive soundtrack for anyone whose holidays felt incomplete. Elvis sings with restraint and ache, never overselling the sadness. The gentle sway of the arrangement leaves room for his voice to crack just enough to feel human. It's not despair, it's honesty. Christmas happens all around him, but he stands slightly apart from it. That tension is why the song endures. It recognizes that joy and longing can exist at the same table. When it plays, the season becomes real again, not idealized, but lived in. Decades later, Blue Christmas remains a quiet companion for those who need understanding more than celebration. Number 1. Wonderful Christmas Time, Paul McCartney. Wonderful Christmas Time still feels magical because it dares to sound like its own era and refuses to apologize for it. Released at the very end of the 1970s, the song didn't look backward to tradition or sentimentality. Instead, Paul McCartney embraced the sound of the moment, synthesizers, repetition, and a playful sense of simplicity. What makes the song endure is its atmosphere. The looping synth line feels hypnotic, almost childlike, creating a sense of warmth through repetition rather than melody. It doesn't tell a story, it creates a space, one filled with lights, smiles, and uncomplicated cheer. Critics have debated it for decades, but audiences never stopped listening. That's because McCartney understood something essential. Christmas doesn't always need depth to feel meaningful. Sometimes magic comes from familiarity and mood. When Wonderful Christmas Time plays, the season feels immediate and present, not remembered, not imagined, just happening. And that's its quiet brilliance.